Welcome back to Shore Time with Vin and Dave. Vin Ebenau, Dave Crossan with you as we continue our music-themed show. We gave you some Jersey artists before. We got another Jersey artist here right now. Remember Jones from Jersey City to Brick. Left the state for a while, but then he realized how good Jersey is, so he came back to Jersey in the Asbury Park area, and he's here to talk with us this morning. So welcome on in.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming in. I know it's a little early.
I try to keep it in the PMs, so this is a special event right now.
Well, we feel honored that you made it in. Thank you.
Well, he heard, all the hype about Short Time. He's
of course.
I heard Short Time is like church, so I thought Sunday morning, let's go. Let's genuflect.
Yeah, get everybody, pumped up on a Sunday morning.
That's what
Steak and eggs, because Dave and I have talked breakfast for dinner sometimes, but I said, what about dinner for breakfast? A little steak and eggs?
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
That's a great thing. I love breakfast for dinner.
You know what? It's good, isn't it? Like pancakes. What's wrong with that?
Well, I'm like a keto guy.
Gotcha.
And breakfast, a lot of low carb stuff there, eggs and cheese you could get away with. So like a frittata for dinner, veggies and meats.
There it is. That makes sense.
I got to pass on the pancakes, unfortunately, but tell me how they taste.
Pass on the pancakes.
If you tell me how they taste and I could smell them, that's usually enough for me.
I feel like Yankee Candle or somebody should make a candle of like breakfast foods.
Oh, I think it's a great idea. I actually went into Yankee Candle looking for a strawberry cheesecake one because I love cheesecake.
Okay.
And I would hope to have found a food section.
Maybe like a French toast candle or
French
something
fry
like that.
section.
There you go.
Maybe you could go, give me the whole gamut.
Without a doubt.
And all of a sudden your house starts smelling like different foods. I'm like, oh, wow. What are you making?
What's going on in here?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Well, when you walk into Yankee Candle, you get a headache sometimes.
Oh,
so if it smelled
so
like
much,
dinner or, a Burger King, I would sign me up.
I used to work at the Jackson Outlets at Under Armour. Every time I would walk past, not even just walk into Yankee Candle, walk in there, you get a whole whiff of the 30 different scents in there. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's actually helping them. Yeah. But I mean, people buy candles.
It smells good, but it's just kind of all at once. It's a little overwhelming.
Yes, for sure. Well, it smells great in here.
Yeah.
If anybody's wondering.
It's like an Febreze air freshener. It's like clean linen, I think
Then you
it was.
keep a good studio. I love it.
I'd like to keep good vibes.
It's a must.
But I digress. So we've covered food, we've covered candles. Let's talk some
that's
music.
it. Thanks for coming.
Yeah,
we really
that's all we
appreciate
need
your
today,
time.
That was your take. We got your favorite candle scent. That's what we were looking for.
Yeah, definitely. This is super cool for me. I grew up. We lived in Ocean Township for a little while, and then moved to Brick. And I graduated high school 20-something years ago, Brick Memorial High School.
Nice.
And so when I was living in Ocean Township, 94.3 The Point was in Seaview Square Mall, which is not even there anymore, right? It's different stores and everything. And I was just obsessed as a kid. And actually, this is a good segue to talk about a lot of things I'm doing. But I remember Bat Out of Hell 2 coming out, right?
Yeah.
Meatloaf, Anything for Love, but I won't do that. I was so obsessed, and I would call the radio station every day to request the song. And they got used to hearing my voice, who I was, and they were very friendly and invited me into the studio to take a little tour. I can't remember who was, doing any shows. I have no idea the names, but I do remember at the mall there was a facade that looked like a radio or a stereo, and you could walk by it and watch them live on air.
Cool.
That mall's long gone. Now, it was
that's really cool that you could do that.
Yeah, it was actually long gone, even at the time, to be honest with you. But it was such a cool thing for me, and I was just as a music lover and a music kid, just obsessed with radio, listening to radio all the time, making mixtapes at that age.
Oh yeah, Yep, did the same thing.
Yeah. So I would catch, I think I probably somewhere have them saying, it's a request by Anthony or whatever, and then I would call and say, thank you so much, and can we do, I was just a mess. But, as a 10-year-old kid or whatever, that was so kind.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, that was so kind of them. Such a big deal to me. Wow, the world, 94.3 The Point. It's oh my God.
Yeah, once you walk in,
hearing
it's
them
so
and
cool.
now you're seeing them.
Yeah. It was
cool.
just a really, really cool thing. Got to tour the studio, and everybody was super friendly. And so I have a thing with 94.3 The Point.
There you go.
Well, let's talk about your music. Let's go back in time and let's talk about your influences, your music, and bringing it to now.
Yeah, sure. I call Asbury Park home. Which is such a music hub for New Jersey, and I tour all around the country now, and there's really no other place like it. When I tell people what we have here and the capabilities to perform or the outlets to reach people and entertain. It just doesn't really happen anywhere else. And that was probably a part of my upbringing too, knowing the music history of New Jersey and my family just being music lovers.
Okay.
No one was really a musician.
But they love music.
Love music.
Okay.
We were always around music.
There you go.
Everybody playing songs, singing harmonies or whatever. And when CDs came out, Columbia House, we were on top of that.
There you go.
So they were collectors too of music and records and things like that. So I just was really influenced by that and found my first outlet to perform in musical theater.
Okay.
Which is no surprise to people who see my shows. Because they're super theatrical and
energetic.
I take a lot of that influence. But doing plays in school and then ultimately community theater and then professional theater, that was really my outlet. And I was like funny guy and could sing, so it all kind of added up. And then I started to have bands sort of later into my teens while I was doing musicals because I had more of like a pop rock voice.
Right.
I would do shows like Jesus Christ Superstar and Godspell and kind of Pippin, kind of rock opera type Tommy, that kind of thing. So I felt really comfortable in those and then had bands and sort of found my way out of theater a little bit and more focused on being a front man. And really at some point into that career, probably 10 years after that time period, I decided to hybrid the two and give myself a stage name, which is Remember Jones.
Great name.
And I wanted something people would remember,
Very true.
And I talked.
How'd you come up with it?
Well, there's actually a singer-songwriter like myself from New Jersey with the same name. My real name is Anthony D'Amato, but his name is the same. He's kind of a Americana folk singer. Very different from me. And when MySpace was the thing, and MySpace music, I know we laugh now, but man, it was such a thing then.
Oh, it was.
They kind of conjoined our profiles together. Both Anthony D'Amato's, I guess, thinking it was some sort of mistake.
Okay.
And it just became this headache, and people were booking him looking for me, and vice versa, and that was very different. So I knew I could create this persona that he couldn't because his music, he's amazing, just different,
Sure.
And I think he aligned with his own name more than I did on stage. I was a character on stage anyway.
Okay.
So Remember Jones kind of brands myself, allows me to kind of be whatever I want to be whenever I want to be. It's kind of my Lady Gaga or my Freddie Mercury or Tina Turner, if you think of it that way. Even David Bowie, not even his real name, So
right,
it's just
that's a good point.
It took a while for me to commit to that, and a mentor of mine said, if people don't like it, change it to something else.
There you go.
And it worked. It really worked for me, and I've been just taken off since. And Asbury Park in Monmouth County in particular have been really influential in my career and have allowed me to grow beyond just New Jersey. But 6 months a year on the road.
Wow.
But I call Asbury Park home now, and only play there a few times a year. But it's been really great. It's been great to grow. Obviously, the few years of the pandemic, or a step back that we're kind of still coming out of.
What was that like, being a musician, going through the pandemic, trying to still put music out? Or
I tried to sugarcoat it for sometimes I talk about it, but painful, definitely painful. I'm an entertainer first. Like I think I'm a writer third. I'm a singer second.
There you go.
If you push me out on a stage and put me in front of people, I could do my thing. And you guys have that capability as well. So that's my strength: putting on a show, entertaining people, taking nothing and turning it into something. So to not be able to do that, that was painful.
Sure.
I mean, I could sing in my shower. I could write songs all day long. But that, thing, the connection to people, not having that was hard. And so we did live streaming for a little while, but I mean, that was not fun for me.
Different without a crowd.
Yeah, and I sing to the sky. I have this huge, powerful voice, so like to sing it to this tiny dot.
Feed off the audience isn't there.
You can't
see me.
Right. That energy. I learned a lot, though. We had to learn that. And I say, like, artists didn't really get a break like some people did. We had to, deal with the emotions of losing everything that we were doing. I mean, I lost my entire business structure.
Oh boy.
At the time.
Sure.
And just to adjust to this other world took time and learning and patience and money that we weren't making. So people were really giving, fan base and doing live streams and things like that. Like people were really, really helpful, and that was cool. And even if people had no money and they just said, "Hey, we're thinking about you. What's going on? Are you okay?" That's priceless. So
yeah,
I did write a record though in that time.
You had that video that everybody watches.
Oh yeah.
Can you talk about that?
I have a lot of them.
Okay. Well, the one in particular, the cartoon about.
Oh yeah, that's great. Fat Jeans was actually that was my first single during that time, and it had a lot to do with my pandemic story. I think all of us put on the COVID.
Oh, absolutely.
The COVID 45.
Might as well eat. We're home.
Yeah, exactly. And I actually have a weight loss history. It's hard to put that to words, but at one point and during my high school years, and a lot of people knew me in this area as a big guy. I was 400 pounds.
Wow.
So I took time about 10 years ago and through diet and exercise lost 200 plus pounds.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was pretty amazing. I wasn't sure how I was going to do that for the rest of my life. After I lost the initial weight.
Right. You're trying to keep it up.
Yeah, it was definitely hard for a few years, but it's been good. I've been able to do it, but the COVID time was a test.
Right.
That for everybody.
Yeah.
That was tough. Even when I thought I was eating well, I was just doing nothing.
Right. Well, think about people who went to gyms. The gyms weren't open. It was such a challenging time to figure out some sort of routine to get through it, and of course, not overeating during that time period.
It's hard because you're like sitting home watching movies or TV. Right. You're like, a bag of chips here or whatever there.
Yeah, totally. And it happened, and I decided to kind of write a song about it, which I had never sung about my my weight loss or
it's very
or my
entertaining.
weight.
It's a great song.
Yeah, it's fun. So I called it Fat Jeans because in my drawers at home, there is a dresser of stuff when I feel real good and svelte, and then there are my fat jeans. If I have a cheat day or something like that, or a cheat week, I put my fat jeans on, and I just said that in the conversation. I put my fat jeans on, and it sounded musical to me. Wrote this song, and had a great video animated by a friend of mine, and he worked so hard on it. We worked well together, just conceptually, and laughed so hard at every minute of it. And it's all true. I mean, it's all a real story. It's fun, and people resonated with that at the time, and still do. I perform it in the live shows, and it's a great fun moment. And I love the humor aspect of it, but there's also a little, true storytelling in that going, and connecting people together. I think people see me now and they don't realize that I have that struggle. So as a writer does often, you take from your life and you do your thing. So it's really cool. The video's a blast if you want to check it out and you haven't and you're listening. Fat Jeans. There is some controversy over that song because it was borrowed, quote unquote, by a national artist a little larger than me.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
I had heard that.
Yeah, stolen, some would say.
Dun, dun, dun.
The songs don't sound exactly the same, but the concepts are identical and the videos are almost identical. Another animated video. So I don't even need to mention it because we don't want to give that any airtime, but you can find it out yourself. I mean, you search Fat Jeans, Remember Jones, and it comes up. It definitely hit some national
there you go.
news outlets and stuff, and got me some plays and some views.
Out of all the places you've been to and traveling, touring all over the country, and of course New Jersey, do you prefer like the smaller venues or the large venues to get up on stage and perform?
I was just having this conversation the other day because we as we tour, there are some cities and locations where we are playing big festivals or big theaters, and then there's some where I still don't have that ground just yet. So we play a smaller venue, and there's we will go from 50 people one night to 500 or 5,000.
Oh, wow.
So as a front man and kind of a visionary type, I have to adapt, and be able to control that type of audience every time. And my band is down for the ride, and they know the set list might change depending on, how things go. And we have plans for that. But I hate, it's so weird to say I like them all, but.
Right. I get that. Yeah.
This past weekend, I did a few intimate sort of cabaret type settings for fans, and they were kind of invite only and private, and there was about 30 people there, and I was able to tell stories and sing stripped down versions of my songs that I don't typically anywhere else, and it was really special.
Oh wow.
And a lot of them had never heard me sing. I usually have like a 10-piece band with
big
me.
band.
And sometimes in Jersey, sometimes I'll do up to 20 or 25 people, a choir, a horn section, string section, all this stuff. On the road, we take around 10 people. So these people had never heard me sing with just a piano or something, you know. So
that's cool.
So that was really special, and I really like doing that. It definitely turns up the storytelling and the connection to the material. But like, I love a party, you know, and I love the opportunity to be in like a huge theater.
Sure.
My home base theater is the Count Basie.
Okay.
In Red Bank.
Red Bank, sure.
So
classic, legendary.
yeah, I've sold it out many times. Grew up on that stage doing musicals and plays. And
good place to see a show.
yeah, it's so good. So the 1,600 people there. When they stand up, you almost feel like pushed back. You know, it's a really cool feeling there, and it's special for everybody involved. So I like it all a little bit.
That's fair. Yeah,
I like to perform and stuff. You know.
There you go.
So yeah.
We got to dive to a quick break, but want to talk more about your upcoming shows and performing as well. Can you hang around?
Yeah, let's do it.
There we go. He's going to hang with us, Dave.
We got pancakes here, so let's
go. Why not?
And French toast smelling candles. We've got it all covered here on Short Time with Vin and Dave. It continues right after this on 94.3 The Point.
Hi, this is Christy Pierce-Rampone, former U.S. women's soccer team captain, Olympic gold medalist, World Cup champion, and Point Borough High School alum. And you're listening to Short Time with Vin and Dave on 94.3 The Point. Tune in for some real conversation with Dave and Vin. You don't want to miss this.
Let's face it, investment concepts and financial planning can be very intimidating and confusing. Shoreline Wealth Management addresses that feeling head on. Their goal is to educate you while offering financial advice without buzzwords and jargon. Shoreline includes you in the process and makes you comfortable every step of the way on your path to financial freedom. Shoreline Wealth Management is your financial anchor. Visit shorelinewealth.com for more information today. Shoreline Wealth Management, with offices in Manchester and Manahawkin. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC.
Hey, this is UFC Championship fighter and Toms River High School East alumni Frankie Edgar, and you're listening to Short Time with Vin and Dave on 94.3 The Point. Dave and Vin, these guys are the buzz.
Welcome back to Short Time with Vin and Dave. Vin Ebenau, Dave Cross, and with you. With us here this morning is a local artist, Remember Jones, who's talking about some of his influence, and a little bit about food and candles as well. But he's got some shows coming up this year, including April 14th and 15th at Axelrod Performing Arts Center in Deal, and that's close to sold out, so you better hop on that. June 2nd at the Count Basie in Red Bank, June 10th at Resorts Casinos Superstar Theater in AC, and also big time music festival coming up this summer, North to Shore, just announced by Governor Murphy and his administration during the week, in Newark, Asbury Park, and Atlantic City, and you're taking the stage down in AC.
Yeah, that's right. Just very cool to be involved with this North to Shore Festival, and I'll be doing the Resorts Casino, the Superstar Theater, on June 10th. We'll be doing all of Meatloaf's Bat Out of Hell album.
Wow. There you go.
I've got a 15-piece band.
With part one or part two?
So we're doing all of part one.
Okay.
And then we got some stuff from part two.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's funny to think about that album being only like 7 songs, but like 45 minutes or,
right.
or 50 minutes.
They're pretty long.
So to get like an entire night going, well, grab 3 or 4 from the second album because they were just as long, and we're all good. I'm actually like a huge fan of Jim Steinman, who wrote all of the music. And it really helps like my theatricality and sort of tongue-in-cheek thing at the same time happen. And I just have always connected with that material. I mean, he wrote Total Eclipse of the Heart. He wrote It's All Coming Back to Me Now by Celine Dion. He wrote Holding Out for a Hero, Making Love Out of Nothing at All, Air Supply. I mean, he was just Read 'em and Weep, Barry Manilow. It's like all these huge hits that were Jim Steinman, surrounded by the Bat Out of Hell 1 and 2 success. And he's got a few musicals and things like that, too. So I'm doing that June 10th as part of the North Shore Festival in AC. But I'm doing the show first, June 2nd, at the Count Basie Theater in Red Bank. And this is actually a revival of me doing this show. We did it last year. It was huge. We did 3 nights and sold out immediately. I mean, we sold out within a couple days, and I had Max Weinberg on drums, which was super
That's really
cool.
nice.
Max played the album in 1977, Bat Out of Hell, in the studio. So that's him on pretty much all the tracks. And this was his first time performing it live. So that was super cool,
really
kind of a cool honor.
There you go.
He obviously is not available for June. They are on the road with the E Street Band.
That's right.
But I do have some other guests and things lined up for that run in June. And it's just so much fun, man. That show, I definitely do my own kind of concept to it. It's if you expect theatricality like you do when you listen to Bat Out of Hell, I'm going to give that to you on steroids for sure.
There you go. Like that.
Crazy outfits, crazy band, everybody's
That's like
wireless.
one of my favorite music videos. I would do anything for love, but not that.
Oh, yeah.
Like where he dresses up like a gargoyle and all of a sudden sliding across the floor. I'm like, what's going on here? It was entertaining and funny at the same time, but also very good.
It was huge, and I can't remember the director, but a really big director on that, you know. And that was like a comeback for Meatloaf. And
think about the separation at the time between the first album and the second, and the pressure on the second album, and they nailed it.
Yeah. It's fun history, you know, to go back and dive into all that stuff. A lot of those songs on the second album, Jim Steinman had planned for Bat Out of Hell 2, which was to be released a few years after the first one. And he wound up releasing the record himself as Jim Steinman. The record's called Bad for Good, and it's just interesting, you know, really the trajectory of the whole Meatloaf thing. I mean, never would have thought that would be as big or close to. I mean, Bat Out of Hell is the top third selling album of all time.
And to be able to do that in so many years of separation, to be able to bring that back again. And
it's an amazing story.
Nailed it.
Definitely. So I love bringing it back to life and giving kind of people a fresh ear on it, which is super fun. And it's definitely music that I have always sung. It's in my wheelhouse. You know, people are like, wow, can you do that? The pressure's heavy, but I definitely love it, and it's definitely appropriate for me. So that I'm excited about in June. I do have some local stuff in April, too. Okay. I do a lot of work with the Axelrod Performing Arts Center in Deal. They're just like 5 minutes outside of Asbury Park, and they are sort of a union theater company. They do a lot of professional theater all year long, and I've done a few roles there. I played Jekyll and Hyde in the musical Jekyll and Hyde.
Nice.
Che in the musical Evita. I just played Teen Angel in Grease. Sang a very Remember Jones beauty school dropout, which was a lot of fun.
Sure.
But every year I kind of do some kind of theatrical concert or some project there, and this year I'm doing a 50th anniversary of Joe Cocker's Mad Dogs and Englishmen.
Oh, Joe Cocker, nice.
Yeah, so this tour was from 1970, around that time, and they released a record which at one time was the top-selling live album of all time, and it was one of the top-selling live tours of all time at the time. And it had Leon Russell on piano, music directing a 20-piece band surrounded by Joe Cocker, surrounding Joe Cocker, and they're all covers. So it's the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, Ray Charles, Otis Redding, the band, Leonard Cohen. The list just starts there with a 20-piece gospel soul arrangement. So it feels like church, you know, to hear his version With a Little Help from My Friends, which is pretty popular, but with a 20-piece band, a 9-person choir, the horn section, 2 drummers. So we're doing that. We're doing that the 14th and 15th, April 14th and 15th at the Axelrod Performing Arts Center, and tickets are kind of almost sold out. They're selling fast.
How can somebody get a ticket?
AxelrodArtsCenter.com or RememberJones.com. You could get all the links there. We're also taking that show on the road. Gramercy Theater in New York City, City Winery in Philadelphia, but most excited about Bethel Woods Center for the Arts in Bethel, New York. That's the original Woodstock grounds. So really pumped about that. We'll be indoors. They have a super cool museum and event space inside, but that's going to be super cool. So kind of a busy couple things
going on there.
Yeah, I'm doing a little festival down in South Jersey called Camp Jam. They're really supportive of me all year long, all over the state. That's in May with my original music, and I'll be touring original music all summer long as well, all around the country.
You and I were talking off the air about different artists and influences that you have, and you and I have one in particular, Prince.
Yeah, oh man.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
The artist, period. You know, like there's no comparison to Prince. You could say he sounded like XYZ or looked like this, but Prince broke ground every time he stepped on stage, every time he released something, every lyric, every musical nuance. I mean, Prince to me is the number one. You know, when Prince passed, my
it was a tough day.
Oh, my phone blew up from everybody.
Yeah.
I had to pull over my car. I mean, I get a chill just thinking about it because it was tragic.
In California. I know exactly where I was. It was
Have
horrible.
you taken the Paisley Park tour?
I have not.
It's amazing.
No. Okay.
For a fan, it's really, really cool. Now, he had his home was his studio and in outside Minneapolis, and you could take a tour of it now.
I haven't. I will, though.
He would do shows in there.
Right.
Basically, I think they built it to facilitate studio space for Purple Rain and the Sign of the Times tour.
I think you're right. I remember a lot of what they did for Sign of the Times, one of my favorite albums of Prince.
Yeah.
Tremendous.
For sure.
And when
Amazing.
it came out, it was like, wow, Prince, with Purple Rain, and like, where do you go from there? And then a couple albums later, here's Sign of the Times. Like, wow, this guy's something else.
His story's incredible too. I always have to talk to people about why he changed his name to the symbol, because people think it's crazy, but it's actually brilliant.
Right.
And he stood up against the music business model, which was
an ownership of the music.
Yeah, it's really anti-artist. And as a young artist now, as things have shifted, also Prince being the first to take advantage of the internet for his music, was way ahead of everyone with that. It is challenging for a young artist today to release music and be heard and seen, and streaming. We all know the fighting behind the scenes when it comes to that, and the royalties and how much money you get paid out. So, Prince was at the precipice of that, set the example for that, and I mean to not be able to get your masters, so then perform under just a symbol, and release a 3 CD record, Emancipation under that. I mean, 30 songs, just like, here you go. I got plenty. And he was known to say, if I wanted to hear a new song, I just write it.
Well, and that was the other thing too with the record label. He wanted to release albums when he wanted to, and they felt that was going to saturate the market, and they wanted to control how he released the albums. That was a big issue.
And that leads us to The Vault, which is like, if you're a Prince fan, there's all of this incredible music that they're slowly kind of releasing. But we mentioned off the air, too, being members of the fan club at the time, you kind of had access to some of that. And it was just a really, really, just a great community to be a part of.
There's songs, Vin, that they'll gradually release that he had in the vault that he didn't release. And now, unfortunately, since he passed, it's been coming out from the estate.
Yeah, it was cool to see a lot of that stuff as part of the tour too, and not only his outfits, which is another thing too, is a big influence of mine. Always wearing something unique and getting something custom made, and I work with designers too for my shows, and I know everybody who knows me listening knows, what is he going to wear? It's kind of like a thing. Once somebody said that to me, I'm like, oh man, I got to commit now. But guys with their gear, this is my gear, and it all helps the show itself, and it influences what I do and how people look around me, and so all my shows are fully designed in that way too. And Prince did a lot of that as well. I mean, I've played First Avenue.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Cool. If I would have known, I would have worn my shirt today. But it's such a legendary venue.
Yes, it is.
And legendary artists.
Well, that's where they filmed Purple Rain.
Yep, exactly. And Prince, was supported by the Minneapolis community. That's really how he was able to make it this national thing. I mean, a brilliant
He really put Minneapolis on the map.
Yep. Oh, yeah. And he could play every instrument, produce his records. The first few albums, he played every instrument and produced it himself, and wrote the songs and arranged them. I mean, it's really a brilliant artist that will be sorely missed. I mean, it is sorely missed for sure. But I love, these people always want me to do a Prince show because I do these kind of shows, and
I'll be there.
yeah, for sure. Because you hear the influence in my original music a lot, but it's one of those artists where I'm like, I don't know if I need to touch it.
Okay.
It's so
there's so
good.
much music, and there's so many different albums that you can take pieces of. It would be a challenge actually to put together a show.
Sure.
Because there's so many songs that weren't necessarily popular songs, which
like.
Is great songs.
Yeah, and I tend to like them more. And anybody, young people that come to me and want to talk influences, I say, listen to Prince.
Right.
It'll take you a year, but listen to
take some time. Yeah,
listen to the catalog because you will leave being a fan. I mean, there's just sure, everybody has songs by artists you don't really like, or you don't it doesn't soak in for you. But every record you're going to find something. For every artist in any genre, he was able to really do it all. One of the most underrated guitar players of all time.
And it's a shame that it took his passing for people to realize, what did we have? We had somebody amazing. And that unfortunately happens where you look back, it's like, I didn't realize how good a guitarist he was and all this great music that he had.
That happens with me with, the Meatloaf and Jim Steinman stuff. They just passed as well, and people don't realize certain things were them or what that happened, how that happened. I have a show that I've done in about 40 states that's dedicated to Amy Winehouse.
Oh, wow.
And she's, one of the best vocalists of all time, died when she was very young too, and what that career could have been, we don't know. But the people that come to celebrate the music as we do, I don't call it a tribute, it's more of a celebration because I'm not looking like her with a beehive or heels, though I could. if given the challenge. People are so they're weeping, because they didn't get a chance to hear it live or see it live. And maybe they connected with her later or only knew the song Rehab and
Good point.
her struggle surrounding it. So they come and they just feel it. It's all about that feeling.
Right.
Wow, I could feel this energy in this room, and you did the service, to this music that we need to hear. We'll see it again because you're the one doing it right. So that's been a real honor and a really cool thing. And I don't know. I haven't seen anybody living as Prince really delivering that thing, and that's to me why he just can't really.
I wouldn't want a Prince performance or somebody covering Prince to just do hits, and that's what I would be afraid of.
Yeah,
there's
for sure.
so much there that.
Yeah, I want the deep cuts.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely want the deep cuts. And I will say, being from Jersey and Asbury Park specifically in this area, has allowed me to do these kinds of things and people to be open-minded to the creativity and trust me with it. We have a great scene of original music. We have a great scene of cover artists here. I kind of liken myself to song stylists, kind of like Tina Turner or Joe Cocker or Tom Jones or Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin. These people who didn't really write their music first and foremost. I'm sure they contributed to writing, but they were given songs and put their spin to it and created something new. That's my strength as an entertainer, I think. And I feel very fortunate to have had in New Jersey, but all over the country, people who like that and trust me with that. It's been really cool. I mean, I love being here. I love Asbury Park, love Jersey, love that I can go to venues and go to theaters and support on all levels. But I really do like the opportunity with connecting with people just all over the country.
There you go. Last question I have. What do you like about performing in New Jersey and some foods you like about Jersey? What is it that makes the Jersey Shore, New Jersey, special to you?
It really is like nowhere else. I've opened for Darlene Love. I've opened for Ronnie Spector. I've sung with Bruce Springsteen. I've opened for the Jukes right in Asbury Park. I mean, some of it just like walking distance, from where I live, and that's special. There is a feeling in a place like the Stone Pony or the Count Basie Theater or even I've done some LBI or there's really just unique happenings there where people come expecting music and the feeling that it brings. That I really like. You did say food, right? You said you eat food. I mean,
we also wait. I guess let me interrupt you there. Pork roll or Taylor ham? What do you call it?
Pork roll.
There we go.
Okay.
That's a winner right there.
Yeah,
we're going to let him come back just because of that answer.
For sure. I mean, for definitely pork roll. I love diners. Oh, man, I love diners.
Jersey's got some good diners.
Yeah, you can't get them anywhere else like they are in Jersey.
Yeah.
You really can't. They're like Waffle House on the road or something like that. But I love diner food. Oh, my goodness. Even if I'm trying to eat healthy, you can still do it right at a diner.
You got to have that cheat day.
Oh, definitely. And usually if I want a cheat day, I want to go to a diner. I want that, just give me that greasy, nasty stuff. Give me a plate of fries with cheese and gravy.
I'm going all in.
Yes.
You're going to do it right.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, the best pizza probably in the country in New Jersey, too.
Good point.
And I lived in Chicago for years. So there's no comparison.
Chicago's the deep dish, right? Yep. The thick.
Yeah. No, I would only go if my friends were visiting, and we'd say, okay, try the Chicago pizza. Because it's really like it's a pie. It's like dense, It's not the same as the casual folded to the face slice.
That thin crust over a Pete and Elda's. That's good stuff.
Well, I have shirts, from eating that whole
Yep.
pie for many, many years.
Yep.
But that's a great thing too, right? How cool is that? That isn't a thing that happens all over the country or in other places too. Really, New Jersey just has its own kind of thing. And even living away from the state, I missed it. I missed the accessibility to the cities and the beach and the mountains. I mean, New Jersey's just like...
We have it all.
Yeah, it's really, really, really cool.
Well, we appreciate you coming on today and talking about food. Dave and I like talking about food.
We could do another show on that.
Yes,
without a doubt.
But also about music, your influence, your music journey, performing, influences. And then, of course, you got a bunch of shows coming up this year where people can go out and see it. But we appreciate you taking out time to come on the show.
Thank you for thinking of me and having me. And follow along. Instagram, Remember Jones, RememberJones.com.
There it is.
I'll see you and listen to you guys soon. Okay.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
Thanks again.
All right.
That is Remember Jones. More Short Time with Vin and Dave right after this on 94.3 The Point.
Hey, this is Frankie Pantangeli. You should be listening to Vin and Dave on 94.3 The Point. Yes! Oh!
Whether you are in the early stages of investing, getting ready to retire, or planning your estate, you need a financial planner who will guide you on a clear path with honesty and transparency. Shoreline Wealth Management provides clarity through the complexity. Shoreline's system is straightforward. They will understand your financial circumstances, identify goals, analyze current plans, and customize a path to position you to reach your goals. Shoreline Wealth Management is your financial anchor. Visit shorelinewealth.com for more information today. Shorelinewealth.com. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC.
Hey, this is Tony Gaga. You need a radio guy. You gotta go to the radio guys that I go to. Ben and Dave on 94.3 The Point.